Coming up on this program, we show you how to get connected. Find out how to choose an internet service provider. Discover the newest form of communication, electronic mail.
Ways down and ready to ride.
Why do you hate me, Internet? I hope everybody's doing well today. I appreciate is quite ill, but I am for the wonderful early birthday in the PP. Sorry. I'm even bring myself to do what the fuck is happening? Why does it? I'm still drinking Gatorade to recover. It's kitsch framing. Like I just the internet. It's good, it said. If my roommate's touching it, I'll kill him. Anyways, it's not going to be a long show today, just for a few. I have a few things to do. We're going to continue watching the Now I'm yelling at random people. Are you touching the internet? Let me just get a video going and then hopefully that helps. How's that going to help? It might not. Anyways, but oh, it was Judge Kirkham, right? That's who it was. Yeah. Divorce Part 1. There it is. To everybody that this is where we were watching this at the beginning of the week, and we're going to continue watching it. They're due back in court tomorrow. We're not going to be able to catch up all the way, but we'll catch up as much as we can. Thank you, MB. Oh, thanks, Beverly. Yes, I like my hat too. It's my Florida hat. I like my Florida hat. And let's watch.
As
Now I'm
far as, well, no, I don't think I have any
these
further
lawyers are
questions.
terrible. This is
That's it, Ms. Ives? I didn't hear that.
Yes, Your Honor, that will be it, Your Honor. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, Ms. Van Wormer, thank you for your testimony. You're excused. You have a wonderful day. Who do we have now, Wade?
I have a Lindsay Potter.
We have a Lindsay Potter on the, that's waiting, and that's the only witness that we have in waiting.
Okay,
Next then.
okay.
Bring her in.
Well, Ms. Storm, is that, do you want Ms.
Yes,
Potter to?
Okay.
Yes, that would be great. Thank you.
Okay,
oh,
great.
reminder though, also the bottom screen here, Miss Storm is buffering. It's very distracting. I'll probably pop up on top of her here in a minute. Because her camera is terrible throughout this. It gets better towards the end of the day, but in the morning, she reports back that they have bad internet at her office or wherever they are. But
Please unmute Ms. Potter.
Good morning.
Good morning, Ms. Potter. We're going to take some testimony from you, so if you would raise your right hand, we'll have you sworn in, then we'll proceed.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you are about to give shall be the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, Ms. Storm, you can proceed.
Thank you. Ms. Potter, could you please state your name for the record?
I am Lindsay Potter.
And how are you employed?
I am the owner and director of Bright Light Early Care and Education.
Okay. And how long have you been in that position?
We opened in 2022, and I have been here ever since. I was the owner prior to our opening.
Wonderful. Okay. And are you familiar with the parties, Mr. Porter Ward, Ms. Danielle Newburn, and their child Demetrius?
I am.
And how do you know them?
Danielle enrolled Demetrius in March of 2022 after a tour of our center, and he attended childcare here with a small break until May of 2024. In that time, Porter was a regular active parent at pickup and drop off.
And at those pickup and drop offs, was there any behavioral issues at either pickups or drop offs by my client? Was he appropriate during those pickups and drop offs?
Porter was present or had a delegated present person to pick up and drop off that was acknowledged on the pickup and drop off sheets. In those instances, Demetrius was transitioned from childcare to parental care in a common way.
Okay, so there were no issues during pickups or drop-offs with Mr. Porter Ward during those times? You said it's in the normal way, the common way that the pickups usually go, so no incidents?
None that I recall. I know that Porter was always very concerned about the well-being of Demetrius's body. And so we would spend some moments going over any injuries to him, scratches or bruises from the day, bumping into a table, things like that. I was the director in that role. Kaylee was the teacher. And so it depended on who was present, kind of who did that interaction. There were some frustration moments when Demetrius would have a mark upon his body or paperwork to be documented in our communication software or in person, but I don't remember any events.
Okay. And what sort of injuries are you talking about?
Crashing a bike on the playground, running into a shelf, having an altercation with a large block with another classmate. Most of them were skin abrasions or bruises.
Did any of those require medical attention that you're aware of?
I am not aware of any medical attention that was provided.
Okay.
All
Were
of them were
Band-Aids?
like washed and iced and cleaned in classroom.
Okay, that was going to be my next question, was appropriate Band-Aids given out if required at that
Yes.
time? Okay, but
Yes.
nothing that rose to the level of needing to be taken to a doctor or hospital from the daycare?
Not that I am aware of.
Okay. And were you acquainted with either of the individuals prior to Demetrius's enrollment in your daycare?
I was not.
Okay. On the days that you were there, were you able to observe Porter or his designee pick up Demetrius from daycare?
Yes.
How often would you say you observed that?
I think that for the sake of the record, it changed over time because he was here from March until June, early July of 2022, and then re-enrolled in a different programming type in August and September of 2022 until May of 2023. The pickup and drop off routine was different in those seasons because Demetrius's attendance and routine was different in those seasons. Most of the time, I would say that Porter and his designees were responsible for pickup half of the week. Drop off was a little more difficult to track, but both entities were responsible for dropping off as well.
Okay. And was that program that Demetrius was in, was that a program that offered him free enrollment?
Correct. It was considered the Great Start Readiness Program in the state of Michigan and was a free tuition program to families who were age eligible and conditional eligible.
All right. And at some point, did Demetrius age or age out, or conditions change that would make it so that he was no longer eligible for the free program?
In May, the program year is considered complete by the state of Michigan funding guidelines. And so because he was 4-year-old, year was September of 22 to May of 23, that he was considered complete in May of 23. The funding guidelines in the state of Michigan transition them to a public school calendar year. And the summer is the summer, and then they move from a pre-kindergarten year into a kindergarten year according to the state guidelines.
Okay, so in approximately May of 2022, was it that you said?
23.
23. Okay, so in May of 2023 is when that program changed?
Correct.
Okay, and at that time, what was the cost for him to attend?
The cost for him to attend after May would have been $215 a week.
Okay, and
For
how many
full-time care.
days for full-time care? So that would be Monday through Friday?
Yes.
Okay, that was my next question. Did you try to inform both Mr. Ward and Danielle about this free period ending and the need to switch to weekly pay?
Yes.
Okay, and how did both of them, were you able to get a hold of my client?
Yes.
Okay, were you able to get a hold of Ms. Newbern?
Yes.
Did payments come for those weeks after contacting and talking with them?
I honestly do not recall right now what his final date of enrollment was. I could look it up if the court desires. I do not remember.
That's okay. Regarding, I'm assuming you have paperwork that lists the emergency contacts and parents and that sort of information for each child?
Correct.
And for Demetrius, who completed that paperwork?
That paperwork is generally completed by the person who enrolls and then gives authorization to the other entities, secondary parents, as well as any emergency or authorized contacts. In this case, that
Okay.
was Danielle.
Okay, So Danielle was the one who enrolled and completed the paperwork for Bright Light, excuse me.
Correct.
And at that time, or at any point while Demetrius was there, was Porter listed on that paperwork?
He was.
Okay. Was there a time where he was removed from that paperwork?
Yes.
And do you know who removed him?
Danielle.
Do you know why she removed him?
She reported that the conditions had changed and she needed him to be removed. So she did so.
After that, did you continue to have any contact with Porter?
He had requested a meeting. We did end up having a meeting.
And how did that meeting go?
That meeting started as Porter's general interest in Demetrius's well-being. Alicia also attended. The three of us discussed Demetrius's growth throughout the calendar year, as well as their frustration to being removed from the access to pick up an authorized entity. We had a heated discussion regarding if I had authority to do that. And I explained that I did not do that. It was the authorized primary caregiver that was on our paperwork, Danielle. So I had requested that they move forward with Danielle or work forward to find a solution, that all I can do is respond to the paperwork on.
Made the decision, you were
Thank
simply.
you, Mayor. Thank you. I know adulting is stupid, but thank you so much. Miss you. Hey, Mr. Last Name, how are you? We're watching these stupid people divorce it too. That's a bad move. Don't take another parent off the paperwork. It's so lame. It is so lame. Like, to me, you need a court order to do that. You need a court order to do that. And it just seems so lame, right? So lame. Hector, yeah, too. Hey, Crimson, yeah. You guys, my friends, I'm so glad you're back and I'm back. I'm feeling so much better. So much better. Adulting sucks. It's
Enforcing what was being communicated to you?
Correct.
Okay. And so at that time, was Porter's access to the records terminated and he wasn't able to have access any longer?
That is true because of the way the software works. Without access to that entity, there is no access to those records. However, I did email him an attendance report at some point. I'd have to look up the specific date regarding Demetrius's attendance throughout that calendar year. He still had access to me, just not access to the software system.
Okay. And at some point, did Porter get re-added to the document or to the paperwork or permissions?
I am unsure of that answer. I again would have to seek that information. If it was re-added, it was re-added by Danielle.
Okay. And is it true that my client's concern stemmed from the child having marks and bruises that he wasn't aware of, but the child would come home displaying?
That could have been true. There was also concern about access. I know that during that period, Demetrius also was able to receive glasses, and that really decreased the marks and bruises. We had been very concerned about Demetrius's physical well-being, as he lacked control of his body and space, and he often had collisions with items. And so there was often concern about the well-being of Demetrius's body on many parties' behalf.
Okay. Did Danielle ever express the frustrations about the bruises and scrapes that Demetrius would have during childcare?
There was a heightened awareness at childcare about what bruises and scrapes happened in our care, because there was a heightened amount of accusation and possibly blame being placed on the safety of Demetrius in his variety of environments. So there was often the question at pickup of daycare or drop off of daycare, did he come with these and did he leave with these as a monitoring system?
Okay. Did Danielle also share in the concern of wanting to figure out whether the bruises were coming from daycare or elsewhere?
Yes.
Was there a time when the child came home with an actual swollen spot on the side of his head?
I do believe that he had an incident with a table that resulted in a swollen spot on his head.
Okay. And was that something that was communicated to either Danielle or Porter after that?
So what our policy is that all injuries to bodies go into the app. During that time, the app was a barrier for Porter, and we remedied that situation by making sure he had access to the app on his own account because he had been account sharing. And that streamlined the communication and notification behaviors between the daycare and Porter. On those days that he picked up, he had an awareness of injuries or illness coming into the center instead of being met with them at the door.
Okay. And you mentioned that Ms. Newbern had done a tour in March of 2022. Do you know who she did the tour with?
Myself.
Okay. And how did that tour go? What was discussed?
We generally do tours that talk about our services, balanced with our fees, the physical arrangement of the environment. Demetrius started in a 3.5-year-old class.
I also am currently in the 3.5-year-old class. Colin. New phone, who this? It's Paisley. Wearing a hat. Hope you're doing well. Well. And yes, this is a divorce and it's a long one. We were supposed to be reaching the end of it this week, but I was sick. So we are, we're just getting caught up now. She seems a little bit cray, allegedly. You know, but I pulled my arm like this because I actually applied makeup to this because I was earlier going to wear a no sleeve shirt. And then I just was like, no, just, you're not going that far. So, but I bruise a lot sometimes. I'm just clumsy. It's just the way I am. It's just the way I am.
Room, which was next door to the 4-year-old classroom where he finished. And so just really a visual tour, getting to know people, identifying spaces, how the sign in and sign out process and paperwork and services versus fee structure works.
Okay, thank you. I have no further questions.
Okay, Ms. Storm, any, excuse me, Ms. Ives, any
Yes, sir.
examination?
When Demetrius was first enrolled in 2022, I understand at that time, both Miss Newborn and Mr. Ward were on the same contact format. Would that be correct?
Yes.
And they actually were on the same format until this last, would you say May? Maybe May of 2023, at some point, the format changed, correct?
Yes. Spring of 23 was tense, and then the format changed in May.
And then, so I understand that when Danielle removed Mr. Ward from the access on her account, it did not mean that he couldn't obtain other access. Is that correct?
That is correct.
So he could actually set up his own account and have the same access she did, just not using hers. Is that correct?
There's 2 layers. So one is his own ELV access, and that happened after the head injury that we spoke of. The other layer was when Danielle removed the authorized pickup. When that was removed, we did not have a way to put that back in without court documents or paperwork stating as such.
Okay, but there's a portal that Mr. Ward utilizes so that he can have his own access to information, correct?
Correct.
And did he actually set that up on his own or did he not?
He did utilize his own code and his own portal to my knowledge.
Okay.
It's still such a bad idea. Am I framed? I don't think I was. I was just like literally aghast because you shouldn't remove a parent from pickup list. That's such a big move. It's so disruptive for the children. I fucking don't like it. You know?
And I understand, and let's just only talk about like the last 6 months, you know, well, first of all, you had indicated that Demetrius stopped attending your program, correct?
There was a break in care, yes.
When did he stop attending your program? And if you need to refresh your memory and look at your record, please do so.
So in the summer of 2022 into the fall, Demetrius disenrolled for a time period that was associated with the finances of daycare. The cost was high and the free program was coming forward. And so that was a time that he took a long break. Let me verify the very last day that Demetrius was in our.
We haven't heard yet all of them. We are in the first 2 hours of like 7 hours of hearings. So we don't know yet, MB. We're all in the same place here. The first night, we only listened to about an hour and 15 minutes of this testimony, and I believe it was mostly another teacher testifying plus opening statements and a little bit of legal wrangling at the beginning. The reason I am covering up this Zoom box with myself is because she's creed framing below me. I know we're calling it kitsch frames, but it's always going to be creed frame in my mind. She's creed framing sort of below me, but they're still connected. So, but it's distracting. So that's why I'm up here. What we remember, they put them both. They have 2 separate schools their kids registered for. He goes to Montessori one part of the week, and then the other part of the week is going to the other school. So that was unique. We thought that was weird too. Like, Colin, if you imagine, it's weird that they would let him take somebody off of the list. Imagine letting them enroll in 2 separate schools. It's crazy. For a wee kindergartner. Oh, yeah, because the teacher said kindergarten. Remember? It's all coming back to me now.
Our system.
Yeah, send me some. I try. Kindergarten. We call it kindergarten. And I wonder if preschool is different than school in a way, like that might not be as legally legal if you don't have a court order. You know? Just wondering.
Demetrius's last day of care in our system was May 7th of 2023. Because of that, he did miss the graduation ceremonies of his 4-year-old preschool year.
Okay, now that was the early, the Great Start Collaborative piece, correct?
That is correct. That was from September of 2022 until May 15th of 2023.
And then did Demetrius also attend a daycare program as opposed to the learning center? Did he attend daycare after that?
He did not in our care.
And when Demetrius initially started there back in 2022, Was he enrolled in any type of Great Start collaborative?
He was enrolled in daycare then. So May of 22 until June of 22 was in that daycare program.
And at that time, was there a cost to the
Yes.
parents? And how much was the daycare program back then?
That was 215 per week, and he was full-time enrolled Monday through Friday.
And who paid the daycare cost during that time?
The ledger at that time was assigned to Danielle because the family was using one point of contact. The payments came through in Danielle's name. I would have to check that resource, which I am able to do if you would like, regarding if I can tell any more details than that.
Yes, please.
The information I have is that it was a credit card payment that ended in 6242 in Danielle's name from 27th until until July 16th.
When he left for a short period of time?
Yes.
And then when he re-enrolled, that's when he qualified for the Great Start Collaborative funding through the state of Michigan?
That is correct. I also am looking on this ledger and realize I did misspeak. He was enrolled from May 15th until August 26th. In payment card, 624.
I'm sorry, I need you to clarify the year. You said May 15th of what year?
2023.
Okay, so he was in fact enrolled from May 15th, 2023 through what date?
August 18th, 2023.
And during, and I want to talk specifically about this particular time through May through August. During that time, what days of the week was Demetrius at your learning center?
I believe that he was generally here.
Donna, we're doing our numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Thank you. Yay! Thank you so much. I hope you're recovering well. I hope your neighbor's doing well. Donna got some drama. But thank you so much, Miss Donna. Thank you, Colin. I hit a redirect for this, so it'll redirect to yours. I won't be going too long tonight. I'm still recovering, but I already set up the redirect, so it'll go to your stream after this. Don't worry, guys. We have fucking hours of these people to watch later. So remember that. Let's keep watching. And thank you again, Donna. Here, I'll hit that again. Oh, wait, hold on. It is awesome. It is. Orlando rocks in more ways than one. But then Wenlaw comes in. You want a hat, Wenlaw? I want to make merch hats now too. But thank you guys rock. You guys are rock. You're gonna be on later, Hector? Like on? Oh, well, we have to tune in. Orlando is the place, not the first name. Yeah, her name is Donna. She's a great lady. Oh, Hector, no, false alarm. That's not what's happening. Hector is not. I'm starting. Oh my God. I wonder when, MB, because I'm not joking you, we have like hours left and they are scheduled for hours tomorrow. I had wanted to be caught up, like I've said before, like, and you just gotta hit play pays.
Part of the weeks of attendance. I will pull that report as well. For instance, in July, he was here, 8 of the days of the month of July. I believe at that time they were doing a revolving schedule. And so the days that Danielle was in his care, in his parenting time, he was present. And if my memory is serving me correctly, the days that Porter had him, he was not present.
And could you tell from looking at the records or from your memory? And if you have to look at the records to refresh your memory, that's fine. Just let us know. Can you tell what days of the week that the child was going to daycare, primarily like during those summer months?
Yeah. So as I look at June, he was present a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. He was absent the following week. In July, he was present a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, then a Monday, Tuesday, and then a Tuesday, Wednesday. In August, he was present the first 8 contact days, and then
And I'm
Tuesday,
sorry,
Wednesday.
okay.
Pardon?
I don't know what contact days mean.
Like
So
the
we're looking
first
at
through the
days-
9th, but not the weekend. So the first, second, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th.
Are those Monday, Tuesday,
School
Wednesday?
days. They're school
They're
days.
actually a Thursday, Friday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And then again, a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I would say as I look over those 3 months, generally he was present on Tuesdays and Wednesdays with a regular Monday in addition, and then a few additional days as care was needed.
And can you tell me, particularly during those days that, and let's just look at not since for the summer, who was generally bringing Demetrius to daycare? And this is a daycare. Can you clarify, is this actual daycare or is this pre-learning?
In early childhood, they're considered the same. There's a schedule and a routine because that creates consistency for children. But we do offer care 11 hours a day, which is greater than your average school day.
Okay, well, I'll talk about that later, but let's just go back to who was dropping Demetrius off at your program during the day.
As opposed to at night? Ay, vey. Pre-learning, MB, not free learning. Pre-learning. Which is a weird way to put it, but I think she just means like she's basically asking her to check.
From our paperwork, it appears that between June 1st and August 21st, Danielle Newburn's name is on the log as well as staff. We do not have any evidence of Porter's login on Porter's name on the paperwork.
And what about the pickups during that time? Are they generally done by Miss Newborn or Mr. Ward?
I have a few days in June 2nd and June 6th and June 19th that Alicia Skurlock's name is on the log. Other than that, I have Danielle Newburn.
And then were you aware at some point this last summer that Demetrius was also attending another daycare program?
I was. Porter actually notified us of that during that meeting, that they would be enrolling him in programming with the Montessori school in order to ensure his ability to attend for fall.
All right, and so do
Yay, Chris. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. As always, you are so sweet. So this isn't the Montessori, this is another teacher. Like, I don't know who that and there are games, Hector. People just forget about it, I guess. But yeah, it's still there. Still there. Don't worry. I still pay for it. Chris is such a giver. Such a giver. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
It was around the same time that we had the discussion regarding authorized pickup and care of Demetrius.
As a reminder, I know people also, K Crimson, I did indeed rig slots to be a lesson not to gamble, but sometimes it still wins. And honestly, making it lose more than it wins has made people want to win it more. I went to Montessori. They don't do grades. I explained a little bit of it last time, but Chris is an absolute legend. Thanks for keeping around for 4 months. My friend, I hope you ain't going nowhere. I ain't. Thank you so much, Chris. Fucking internet. I hate you, internet. I've literally talked to the internet people this week, though. Not me. Somebody in this house did. Anyways. That's hilarious.
And who was able to pick him up and drop him off.
okay.
I believe it also in that meeting discussed what his summer plans would be, that we had the option to provide care for the summer if enrollment was requested.
Now, is there first, can you tell me how your daycare works? Do you have to pay for the daycare per week or is it per day?
It is actually an enrollment period, and it is not attendance dependent. So Demetrius was enrolled in a full-time spot, so the full-time fees were calculated every week. He
And
could
what
have
was
changed his enrollment to a part-time spot, but that was not able to be identified as a need, or the insurance of the full-time spot was necessary.
Okay, and what was the cost of that full-time spot?
$215 a week for full-time care. That was 6:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. available, and 5 days a week.
And can you, now that we're on that, can you tell me, what your learning center offers in the way of daycare? I mean, how is it set up?
So generally, we are a structured environment with regularly scheduled programming that looks like meals and snacks, rest time, outside time, small group time, large group time. There's also scheduled independent playtime for children. And within those concepts, they are practicing their pre-academic skills, their motor skills, their communication skills in order to prepare for that kindergarten environment.
And overall, how was did you have disciplinary issues with Demetrius while he has attended your program?
No, he was always a very well-behaved child. Busy, but well-behaved.
Did you, and I want to talk about,
I've never in my life heard of a case where they asked so many times about behavioral issues with the child, and all the teachers respond with no, 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 good Kai, good kid, no, no, no. Like, we haven't heard one issue. And not to mention he's 4. Oh,
these bruises that you had mentioned, I mean, how often would you say per week he would get a bruise or an incident?
Demetrius had an ability to run into things that were in place. Chairs, tables. He had a lot of incidents with his cot where he would be busy moving around at rest time and he would hit his head on the edge. I would say that his frequency was probably once a week that he would damage the skin on his body or leave a mark. But they greatly decreased when he did end up getting those glasses.
And how did that conversation come about regarding checking his eyesight? Was that something you brought up, or is it something one of the parents brought up?
We had acknowledged that as we were getting more into the academic routine of things, letter ID, numbers, Demetrius would say the phrase, "Oh, I didn't see that," or he would hold things closely. And I wondered out loud to both Danielle and Porter if they had considered a vision check. About a week later, Danielle returned and said he is needing glasses and he'll be getting them next week.
Once Demetrius got the glasses, was there a decrease in that type of, I don't know, bruises and bumps that you were seeing?
Yes, accidents greatly decreased on our end. He was still busy, but he was more able to avoid stationary objects and not hurt himself.
And when you had talked about this, was Mr. Porter on board with getting his eyes checked? Or Mr. Ward, I'm sorry.
There was not consent or dissent. There was, okay. So I made sure to make sure that the message made it to both parents.
And the only parent that followed up with that was the mother, is that correct?
To my knowledge, yes.
The issue about these, you had indicated that there was these meetings when Mr. Ward would pick up the child. Can you tell me what about these interactions that you would have with Mr. Ward and the child at the time of pickup?
They generally picked up near the end of nap. And Demetrius was a good sleeper in that season. So he was.
In that season, Demetrius was a good sleeper, Chris. Thank you. 5. Thank you so much, Chris. You guys make sure you have gifting turned on. I'm laughing at MB's comment here. Kirkham is playing solitaire. Maybe Spider Solitaire. Oh, why do I miss that game so much? I could probably still play it if I want. Why do they have to be so petty? But seriously, Chris, thank you so much. So much. As a reminder, or Candy Crush, maybe. And it's such a weird season. She's not even the Montessori teacher, but she's talking very weird. Chris, thank you. As a reminder, guys, today we're not doing a long one. I'm still catching up on my vibes, let's call it. So Colin will go live, I think, at 5, and I've automatically redirected this, so we'll hit him up pretty quick. So we'll just be, another 8 minutes or so, and then head over to Colin's. I'll send you there with a little KCC raid. It'll be fun. They have a Frozen Candy Crush game. Bev, are you trying to get us all addicted?
Generally asleep. We would wake him, get him going, and head him out to the hallway to get his belongings, to be ready to head home with Porter and occasionally Alicia. They would check over him, making sure that his body was in good condition, looking at his stomach, checking his elbows, noticing his head, and then ask any follow-up questions they had about marks on his body, and then head home for the day.
Now, when you say check over him, I mean, is this normal? Did all parents come in and do a check over?
We were in a high conflict situation with this family at this time. This was unique to them.
And when you say check over him, what did that all entail?
Examining his skin, looking for marks on his body.
Did he have to take his clothes off to do that?
Not generally, but they would lift his shirt and look at his belly or his back.
And was this done in private or in a secure room with other individuals, or just done in the daycare?
Towards the end of the hall in the daycare, generally it was a low traffic area, but it was definitely a pathway.
Okay. Did you ever notice anything about this being particularly concerning behavior?
Depending on Demetrius's awake status, he would dispute it. He didn't prefer it. He was still sleepy. He didn't enjoy the transition in that way.
Was there any pattern that you could define or that you recall regarding who was generally dropping or picking off Demetrius to daycare?
In the last 6 months, I would say that generally drop off was a 50-50 split. And so in the 6 months I'm referring to are like January through June of 2023, because we established that May through August of 2023 was primarily Danielle. So in the January through June of 2023, I would say it was a 50-50 split between both parents. I could pull that data specifically if you desired it.
That's okay. Unless you think it would help you identify a pattern.
Not that I recall. Often it was, if Porter was responsible for drop off, he had some family members help him with that drop off because he was at work early, and that is why he got out of work at that 2 or 2:30 mark to pick Demetrius up during the end of day routine for nap. Danielle would generally pick up and drop off at later times. So when she was picking up and dropping off, he would be in between 8 and 9 and leave between 4 and 4:30 generally.
And then if you know who typically did the drop off and pickups for Mr. Ward.
It was either Mr. Ward himself, Mr. Ward and Alicia, or some brothers, and I would have to seek their names specifically. They generally did the drop-offs and occasionally the pickups.
Were these brothers adults?
They were driving. They were 16 to 19 years old. They were well known. They had been identified as people that were able to take care of Demetrius, and they were part of his care team.
You referred this to as a high conflict case. Had it always been a high conflict case?
No.
When did it start becoming a high conflict case?
Sometime in that year, the winter of 2022 to 23 is when things kind of began to feel that shift. There was a lot more of the daycare being put in the middle of what was happening at mom's and what was happening at dad's, and how we were doing a lot more of recovery mission. We were doing a lot more of documenting in order to protect us, or to say,
recovery mission. These are not terms that I hear very often when you're talking about a freaking preschooler. Also, hi Hunter, hi Chris, thanks for being here. As a reminder, I appreciate you, everybody being here. Please hit the likes. I am still recovering, getting a lot, like so much better. Like yesterday, couldn't. Today, I'm here. So just, but not going to push it too far. We have ample of this. We'll do a long one tomorrow. It'll be a long Freaky Friday night for us. It's just weird jargon, right? But anyways, as a reminder, I've preset this up to redirect over to Collins Live after this one. So we'll go for another couple minutes, and then maybe this lady can get off the stand. She's been asking the same questions for fucking ever. Oh, thanks. Appreciate that, Blue. Normally we do long streams, but I'm trying to take care of myself slightly. So I appreciate the vibes, or the feel better vibes. Yeah. Okay, let's listen to a few more minutes.
It didn't happen here. There was a lot of concern about Demetrius's physical well-being, and that became a concern that where was he having injury? Where was he having sleep? Where was he having food? And a lot of conflict arose out of that.
Now, did you have personal experience with Demetrius, meaning one-on-one experience
did.
with him daily?
I did, yes.
Did you note any concerns, and we'll talk about each parent specifically, when mom, let's say, talk about mom first, when mom would drop off Demetrius, did you find any concerns regarding his health or well-being when mom dropped him off?
I did not. He was set up for the day. He was generally strolling in with a second breakfast because he was still eating. He was chatty and ready and able.
And you're a mandatory reporter, correct?
I am.
So if you would have noticed anything on that was concerning, you certainly would have reported it, correct?
Yes.
And what about when Demetrius would come in from dad's care, either dropped off by dad or his girlfriend Alicia or one of his brothers? Did you ever note anything concerning when he would come in?
The time of day was very different for Demetrius, and he did not do well in that morning time, as well as he did at 8 or 9. And so he was generally dysregulated. He would eat more breakfast with us. He would have days because of the circumstance. And I'm not sure if it was associated with the time of day or if it was associated with the caregiver. But this condition of those days was always much longer for Demetrius. He took harder naps. He ate more lunch, things like that while he was in our care.
Okay. But did you notice any?
Yeah, who amongst us, when they have to wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning, doesn't eat earlier and want to sleep earlier? You're like, these are fucking easy things to know, right? All right, this is the last question I'm letting her ask. Then we're shutting her down. We're heading over to Collins. I'm going to get some rest. I'm also making a video. It'll be released tonight. It's a new Judge Webster video. You know, it's a good case, though. Literally, Judge Webster's happy, if you can believe it. I don't know how to market that one. I don't imagine if I market it like that on YouTube, it'll do very well, but we'll see.
Anything significant concern health-wise or
No,
of his
never.
well-being? Okay.
No,
And you
never.
would have reported that if you would have seen
Yes.
something like that, correct?
Yeah, no, there was never any of that stuff from
So
either party.
So, and why did the parent, were both parents putting blame on the other one for these bumps and bruises that were happening to Demetrius?
To my knowledge, it wasn't so much blame on someone else as much as it was not being responsible for his injury themselves. That it was either there was a lot of worry about being blamed for the injury, not about blaming the
You're not.
Going back to this.
You're not, but we're stopping. We'll have to dissect that tomorrow. I'm going to write down the time again, 156:15, 156:15, 156:15. Guys, I really appreciate each and every one of you. That last video was huge, MB, and it is still sort of going at a weird trickle, which is very much appreciated. Because when I make money off videos like that, it's YouTube Daddy's money. It's beautiful. I love it. So I have to make videos. That's how it goes. Chris. Oh, why do you hate me? My StreamYard hates me. It really does. Anyways, let me play my outro. Let me say my outro. Then it'll take us all over to Collins, and I'll be back tomorrow. We're doing a long one tomorrow, guys. Buckle up, get some snacks, some good shit, because we're going to do this tomorrow. It'll be a long one. Reminder, I love you. I'm proud of you, and I will see you in the next video. Where the fuck's the button? Bye.